serving Borrego Valley and the entire San Diego County backcountry. We are the ramradio.com.
Hello, it is time for Moments with MJ here on BVCR The Ram, otherwise known as Borrego Valley Community Radio. And today I have the opportunity to speak with Katie Stokes. If you don't know Katie Stokes, then you might not have picked up a copy of Edible San Diego magazine. She's going to tell us all about her magazine. So first off, Katie, welcome and hello.
Thank you. Hello.
I would like to find out, how long has your magazine been around?
It was established in 2008.
Oh, wow.
But it was much later than that. My husband and I bought it in 2017.
Okay, so if you bought it in 2017, what was happening up until that time? So you got it started in 2008.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm actually the third owner of the company. It was started by one couple, and they sold it to another couple, and I bought it from Riley Davenport. And we were both at a transition in our lives, and it worked out, in a really exciting way for both of us. So, the magazine was already established at that point of being a quarterly print publication for San Diego County.
Wow. So let's see. That's 18 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pushing 20, almost pushing 20.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So what encouraged you to, since you weren't the official starter of the magazine, which is news to me, which is good, I'm learning, but what encouraged you and your husband to go ahead and purchase it? What made you go, let's get this?
Yeah.
Out of all the things you can buy in the world,
Right.
to be part of.
Right. So it happened in a kind of a natural way. We had recently moved to Escondido, and I didn't know anybody. Was starting fresh, and there was a wonderful coffee shop in downtown Escondido at that time called the Blue Mug.
Okay.
And it was walking distance to our home, and we went over there a lot, and that's where I picked up the first copy that I had ever seen of Edible San Diego magazine. And I remember flipping through the pages and just thinking, oh my gosh, I have found my people. This was a good decision for me, for us to move here. This is all of the areas of topics that I want to know about and get involved in. And so it was such a surprising affirmation to discover that. And so I was basically a loyal reader for several years before I later would meet the former owner and publisher.
So you just kept purchasing it, or you got a subscription to it, or is that something that you can get? Is it like Glamour or any of those other kind of magazines where you can get a subscription to it?
Oh yes, we offer subscriptions, but even better than that, we distribute the vast majority of them for free all around the county of San Diego. So they're free to pick them up at the different locations where we distribute them. And then if you want the convenience and the predictability of it coming to you or to a certain address, you can pay for a subscription, and then we mail those out each time we publish a new issue. So there's pros and cons to both. The subscriptions help us because we're a small business, so every subscription makes a difference. But at the same time, we're also eager to get as many of the copies out countywide as we possibly can every time.
Wow. That's a lot to swallow. So the magazine's been around since 2008, and you purchased it a few years later after being a loyal reader. We can get it as a subscription, but we can also find it around town in certain locations.
Right.
How far do you go? I mean, because right now we're in Ramona, so how far does the magazine reach in California or in San Diego? It's only San Diego County?
San Diego County. So our focus editorially is on the region of San Diego County, and we aim to distribute it as widely as we can countywide.
So that doesn't stop. So let's say, for example, if my sister wanted to read it in Washington State, is that a possibility? Can it be mailed there?
Yes, we have subscribers from all over the country.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it just comes in the mail in an envelope, and it's
That's
really fun
fantastic.
to open it and read up, the new issue. I always tell people, we'll talk about this magazine today, but looking at other edible magazines from around the U.S. and Canada, it's a way of kind of traveling vicariously, because if there's a particular area you're interested in, like Vancouver Island or Boston or Southeast Florida, there are edible magazines. There are more than 75 of them around the U.S. and Canada. So you can, look at their websites online or subscribe to those magazines and have that kind of, personal, local focused experience reading about places where maybe you used to live there, maybe you have relatives there, maybe you like to travel to these areas. So you can have multiple subscriptions. And then the other thing I always advise people is if you're going to travel somewhere in the U.S. or Canada, if you can, take a minute and look ahead and see whether there's an edible magazine in that particular area, because you can find a lot of really handy information about places to go, things to do, local specialties that you might want to find out about, like maple syrup in Vermont or whatever is your passion. And so the magazines really do offer a kind of a lasting reference material. We all aim to produce the content in that way.
And it's a very pretty magazine, too. All of them have such great covers. I like the feel of it because I'm used to magazines that are kind of slick and glossy.
Yes.
But this feels like more of a matte magazine.
Yes, we think of them as velvety pages. It's a partly recycled paper, and we think very carefully about the cover to really invite people to take a copy and open it up. And and I wanted to mention too, though, when I learned later after being a loyal reader that there were these other edible publications all around the continent.
Are they connected?
Well, yes and no. So we're all affiliated in a loose network, but we're also all independently owned and operated. So it's kind of like the best of both possible worlds. And
so they don't dictate what you do
right.
with the San Diego issue,
right.
copy of the magazine. So in another state, they're doing their own thing.
They're focusing on their local region.
And will theirs look the similar style, or do they pick different paper? I mean,
it varies.
It can be picking up something totally new.
Absolutely, and we all share the same general focus on local food. Seasonal cooking, local food producers, fishers, farmers, ranchers. Manufacturers with that local angle, and in general, kind of a healthy living, kind of
I've looked at some of the recipes. Okay, so I'm not sure if Katie knows this, and just to reiterate, you're listening to Moments with MJ here on BVCR The Ram, Borrego Valley Community Radio, and I'm speaking with Katie Stokes, who is the editor-in-chief, right, of Edible San Diego magazine. It's this killer magazine, people. Katie might not know this. Some of you do know this. I'm a certified professional chef.
I didn't know that.
Surprise! Which makes me gravitate towards cooking books a lot. I don't usually do a lot of recipes from other people, but I love looking at them and going, ooh, I just love to look at the pictures. Ooh, this is inspiring. Oh, I didn't know there was a market over there. I can go to this market when I'm happy to visit a friend or family. So for me, it was like almost like a dictionary for food. So that it's giving me a dictionary of San Diego, where I can go, what I can do, what places would catch my eye, what things I would like. And I really enjoyed looking through it. This is not the first time I've seen this magazine. Just so you all know, this is not the first time I've seen the magazine, but it was just so random running into you.
I know. I love that.
It was completely random because we weren't even planning on stopping that day. And my husband double-checked. You sure you don't want to stop and look inside? You wanted to go in. You wanted to get the magazine. You wanted to look around. You wanted to see if they had a new copy on that particular day.
That's amazing. And that's the day we met.
And that is the day we met. And it was like, what? It was like one of those kismet things that people say.
Yes.
But I love that it, like I said, it's a beautiful magazine. It's very well written. I love what's in there. I love that it's local. So then there's places and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that there was a restaurant over there. Now that puts something else on for date night. There's a lot of great places that are set up for date night, and it just helps be able to find stuff that isn't just fast food.
Right.
Not knocking fast food because we've all had it every once in a while.
Sure.
But sometimes for date night, you would like to go and have a nice sit-down meal where you have cloth napkins and someone comes and they serves you really nice. And this magazine sets you up for being able to find stuff locally here in San Diego County.
Yes.
And you already said why you picked this magazine, because it not only was it about local stuff, but about food and wine and places to go and visit. So before this, I'm curious where you actually lived, because you mentioned that you moved here. Were you still in California?
No, I am from Los Angeles, the
So
San Fernando Valley up there, and traveled. I was able to travel a lot in my 20s, but prior to living in San Diego, which is now going on, it's a little bit more than 25 years.
Okay.
We lived in San Antonio, Texas.
Mm.
So that was a real change to go from Los Angeles to Texas, and then to San Diego County, which I now consider home. It's definitely home. So that was, there was some changes in my life. You're younger, moving around more at that time. And the magazine really was a way for me to literally set down roots here. And I bring that kind of awareness to how we choose the stories that we feature, what it looks like, the images that we choose. And the idea is really to provide an alternative to so much scrolling online and how we're all so busy running around. We really create the magazine with the sole purpose of giving people moments of calm in our daily lives to literally sit down with a glass of lemonade or wine or a cup of tea or coffee and just kind of slow down and open ourselves up to learning. And I tell you, it's really interesting how in today's world things can seem so accelerated, and we are all getting a lot of information every day about all over the country and all over the world. Well, there's a lot to learn for all of us about what's going on just down the street and over the hill and over on the other side of the mountains, like in Borrego, for someone who lives on the coast. So we are very, very mindful of the opportunity we have to literally look for stories that you're not going to find anywhere else. Like there's a wonderful feature in our spring issue about a place called Rancho Guajito. And it's in the San Pascual Valley. You could drive by it and not realize what history it represents and the innovation that they're carrying out. So we look for those stories that are like hidden gems and present them to our readers. And it's really delightful work. I think it's important work in today's world because you could maybe find some of the information we talk about on an internet search, but how would you find it? This is kind of an old school concept where we're doing the work of gathering the recipes and the stories and the images and the ideas for our readers and giving it to you all in one piece that you can hold in your hands, and you can turn the pages at your own pace. You can read it front to back to front. You can skim and then go back and read the details later. It's kind of a multi-sensory experience. And I think about that a lot because I think all of us can benefit from slowing down a little bit.
Yes.
Right?
As I think of how busy my day has been. And
someone just rode by on her horse.
Someone just rode by on her horse with another horse right beside her, because we're in Ramona.
I love that.
As we talk about slowing down, all the cars that are going past really, really fast, and then there's a girl on her horse just trotting by.
That was beautiful.
So I can't think of perfect timing really like that. But if you're tuning in, you're listening to Moments with MJ, and I'm speaking with the lovely Katie Stokes, who is the editor-in-chief of Edible San Diego magazine. And she was just sharing the whole idea that we are always on the go. We are always really fast. And I'm not a doom scroller. I can't stand it. I stop looking at a lot of things. Well, I have timers set up on my social media that will stop me and say, okay, you got 5 minutes until your wind down time. And it'll stop me, and it'll give me a 5-minute warning. Sometimes I'll log out before that, but that's just to stop me, because I noticed that after 7 p.m., that's when there's really horrendous news, and I'm always like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's true.
Even if I'm not looking at anything news related, someone will post it, and then I have that. It's in my head, and I can't settle down because I'm thinking, okay, all that sad stuff, all that agonizing information is now in my head before I go to sleep.
Exactly.
So my family knows. Please don't send me any text messages about anything sad or depressing or bad after 7 p.m. I understand that there's stuff that's happening after that time that's bad, but for me, if I can get away from it, then it makes my sleep at least a little bit better. Because then whatever is coming into my head is just from me. But I'm old school, so I love the idea of a paper magazine. I love the idea of paper books. And as many times as a certain company will say, you've got free books that you can get, and there are the audiobooks. I'm like, I don't want an audiobook. Right. I get it. People will listen to them in their car or whatever else that they're doing. But I like the idea of being able to pick up something that's paper, turn the page, dog ear the page if it's my own book, write in the margin if it's something that's like self-help or just a book that I want to read more information about, or even as a child and student, when I was in middle school and high school, I was that obsessive child that when the teacher said, okay, here's our assigned book, I would go to the used bookstore and buy the actual copy. Because I wanted to be able to write in the book. Right. I wanted to make my notes. And if there was vocabulary that I didn't know, I'd underline it in red, write the information down in the margin so that there I was learning more vocabulary. I don't understand what this word is. I'm going to look it up in the dictionary, write it all out. Whereas everyone else in the world is like Googling this and Googling that, which is fine. You know, that's the generation that I work with, is the ones, they live on their phones. They live on their devices. But to be able to pick up an old-fashioned magazine, I still have subscriptions. I'm still upset the Glamour magazine is no longer a paper magazine. That's like shell shock to me. But once again, as a child, I ordered 2 magazines. Back in the day, and today in magazines, there's always that little card where you can fill it out, drop it into the mailbox, and you'll get the subscription. Well, I did that to 2 magazines. I did Food and Wine, and then I did Bon Appetit.
Yes.
Not really realizing as a child that at some point somebody has to pay for it.
Right.
But I was getting the subscriptions and running out to the mailbox and making sure that my parents wouldn't see that I had gotten the magazine and running back in. And then I was like, oh man, now I'm getting a bill I didn't. And then the bills stopped coming. Well, what happened is the magazine continued, but the bills stopped coming because my mother paid for the subscription. Oh. She said if she's getting these magazines, she's obviously interested in cooking. I'm just going to pay for the subscriptions.
That's wonderful.
And so I still have some of those really old copies of Bon Appetit. And
nice.
It's just great to look at it and going, wow, Food and Wine and Bon Appetit. She paid for these. So I was into cooking even then. Yeah. Before I got here to San Diego and became a chef and, you know, all the different careers. But I digress. This is not about me.
It's fun.
This is about Katie.
Share the stories. Well, you're reminding me that, you know, there's so many opportunities with a print magazine that are unique and I think very, very important and very creative. So, for example, we've done a few special editions over the years that depart a little bit from our usual style and structure. Most recently, just last November, we did a special edition about local wine in San Diego County, which is a topic people are mostly unaware of. There's an amazing wine industry in San Diego County. We're actually the first place that grapes were cultivated for wine with the arrival of the Spanish to these parts. But we took an approach with a guide to local wine last fall where we used illustrations. We used a lot more images. We used diagrams.
It's just really pretty.
Yeah, we created a comic strip because different people, as you know as a teacher, different people learn in different ways. Mm-hmm. And we really wanted to create a guide to local wine that was accessible to all different kinds of people and something that they want to keep. So for me, I just get all excited about how to be creative with this, what we think of as a kind of a conversation about local food. That's one of the ways that I think about the magazine and the work of producing it. So it's been really fun when we've done special editions, and all of our editions are available on our website, ediblesandiego.com. You can go there and read back all the way to the beginning We digitized all the issues of the magazine. I have physical copies at home, but we put them online so you can go in and read all of them page by page, and it's really interesting to see what topics were covered at different times and which ones come back. And so that's a resource. Our website is really robust. There's a lot of information there. Recipes, you can search by course, by ingredient, by season.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing. We've really
That's very thorough.
We put a lot into that over the last year. Once again, wanting to make it a resource for people. Because yes, we can Google, we all do that, but we once again have brought together this information, these recipes that were created by San Diego cooks, and we share them for you in a way that's kind of easy to access.
Yes.
So you can print them out, you can email them to people, all the things.
All of that sounds wonderful. It sounds really great. I mean, just because it's just another resource, and it's still a way of connecting with your community.
Absolutely.
Because now people are given information, like you said, they can look up the different recipes. So say I'm looking for something in fall, and I want something with pumpkins. What can I find that you can do with pumpkins? What can I find that you can do with squash? Okay, type it in, see what pops up, and then and then you're just down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's like,
how many recipes? Okay, well now we got to figure out which ones you really want to make. But
exactly,
that's a wonderful problem to have.
Yeah.
Instead of going, well, I don't know what to make for dinner tonight, because you're going to be able to find something that will inspire you to think outside of your comfort zone and try maybe a different vegetable because of the way it's presented. They go, oh, that looks really pretty. Maybe I should try that. I've never tried that vegetable. Where can I find that vegetable?
Right.
Oh, wait, they talk about markets that are in here too. Oh, okay, one of those markets have it. Next thing you know, you're creating a whole new life for people because they're able to find that information and buy the items they need to make their lives just a little bit more flavorful. As I say to my students, because I'm always telling them to add flavor to everything. I'm like, add flavor to your art, add flavor to the style of dance. I'm going to give you the basic steps, but add your own little take to it. I won't always give you arms to do it. I'll just give you footwork, and now you get to do crazy arms with it and have a good time. So by people being able to find the information either in the magazine or on the website or both.
Right.
And like you said, they can send it to a friend. Oh, I got this recipe. Let me send it to so-and-so because she loves that type of vegetable.
Yes.
Now she's going to have something, and it spreads.
Yeah, you share it. Yeah. And, speaking of sharing, we do a really fun program with our fall issue. We call it Cook the Cover because what we do is invite, we're doing it now, invite anybody in San Diego County to send us a recipe that is an original recipe from their family. So not something you've seen published in another magazine or newspaper because that's someone else's recipe,
Correct.
But rather a recipe that someone in your family developed. And it's a very simple form to upload, just takes a few minutes. And what we do is we reach out and find 3 chefs from the area who will volunteer some of their time. And they review all of the recipes that we've received by a certain day. And it's not a competition. I'm really emphatic about that. It's not about competing. It's about sharing. So the chefs review all the recipes that we received, and we usually receive somewhere between 10 and 30 in any given year. This is our 4th year of doing it.
Wow.
And what we ask them to look for a recipe that speaks to them. Because of their ingredient, because of the story that the readers told about whose recipe it was, their grandmother, their aunt, their son, whatever. So they select a recipe that really speaks to them. And then in the summer, Maria, my editor, and I, we organize a day where Jimbo's provides the ingredients, and we set up so that each of the chefs prepare the recipe that they selected. And we bring in a photographer and do a big photo shoot. And we do a whole story on those 3 recipes in the fall issue. And once again, it's not a competition, but of all the photos that are taken, 1 or 2 usually really kind of stand out as being a shape or orientation for the cover. And so we select that. And it's such fun to see the recipes that people share, and then they're able to take that copy to their family gathering the next time and say, look, Grandma, our recipe is in the magazine. So, one day I'd love to be able to feature 5 or 10 reader recipes, but The idea is, for people to, once again, just take a minute and go dig out that notebook or that index box of index cards that most of us have from our, relatives, and pick one to share with the world. So I really love this program. It's called Cook the Cover. It comes out in our October issue, the fall issue this year. And there's a form on the website, and if you sign up for our newsletters, there's a very easy way to sign up for our newsletters on our website. We have the link there.
Okay.
And the more the better, because it's fun to share recipes. Cooking is about being together and nourishing each other and everything. So this is one of the ways that we make that more fun.
It sounds a wonderful idea to me. I love it. And if you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with Katie Stokes. She is the editor-in-chief of Edible San Diego, and you're listening to Moments with MJ. And she was just talking about, which is not a competition, but they're sharing recipes. Like if that happens in the fall, so October you said?
Yes, but we're inviting people to send in their recipes now.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I'll do. Like I do with the other interviews, I will make sure that any of that information will be shared on the same day that you're hearing this, okay? So the same day that you're hearing this interview, this episode, I will also put it on the Facebook page so that it's the Edible San Diego will be tagged in it. All the information that she's given me, I will make sure that you have the information for going ahead and checking out the website, you name it. You guys know how I do it. I'll put all the information down on there, including pictures of all the wonderful things that I'm seeing, and then you can possibly put your own recipe in. Okay?
That would be amazing.
So, Katie, my next question for you is, are there any lessons that you've learned along the way? I mean, jumping into doing magazine, and what were you before you were an editor-in-chief of a magazine? Did you have a career before?
Yes.
Or was your career a home career? I mean, because MJ doesn't make any judgments on it. We accept the whole thing because women can wear multiple hats. We do so many different things. And what did you do before you were editor-in-chief?
Yes, it's a fun question. So I started the Children's Museum in Escondido.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a wonderful...
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it was...
running a magazine is like nothing to starting a whole museum.
Well,
oh, my goodness.
It started small, that's a whole nother story. It was...
Let's save that for
another
interview.
episode.
We got to hear about that.
But actually, when I learned that... I started the museum in 1999. I was there for a decade and really felt a call to leave and move on and other adventures. So I worked in another nonprofit for 6 years in Escondido. And then it was time for a change. So it was actually in that moment when I was looking for other work that I met Riley, the lady that used to be the publisher and editor of the magazine. So I wasn't looking, I didn't just wake up one day and say, I want to run a magazine. It was really just one of those things that happen when you're out and about networking and looking for a connection. So that's how it came to be. So I was in a kind of a transitional time in my life. But in answer to your question about the things I've learned, that question always makes me think about how important I feel it is to be okay with change in your life, because in my experience, change is a constant. And so it's about the art and the science of being clear about what you're trying to do, but also flexible, because the unexpected happens as well as what you're really trying hard to make happen.
That's so true.
So I've learned to be courageous with learning new things, be philosophical if unexpected things happen, and look for a way of kind of making the best of them.
Wow.
And really, the thing in common I found with both my nonprofit work and with the magazine was that old expression, good luck comes to those who are prepared, because people would say, oh, you're so lucky to be leading the magazine, or so lucky to have the magazine. And I've heard a lot of people talk about this in different contexts, but it really comes down to a lot of hard work.
Well, no doubt.
What might seem lucky on the outside reflects a whole lot of vision
Blood, sweat,
and
and
hustle.
tears.
Exactly. So there's really no shortcut in life to doing that kind of work, and for me, it's a very heartfelt purpose. It's educational in nature. Definitely tapping my maternal elements in this work because I have 2 kids. They're young adults now. They were very young when I started the museum, and already older teenagers when I took over the magazine. But I'm a mom, among other roles. I'm a daughter, and I'm a mother, and a sister, and all the relations. But my passion with this magazine comes from wanting to make a difference in the world, wanting to offer people an opportunity, a kind of a quiet moment when we can, flip through the pages of the magazine and maybe come upon a story or a recipe that we weren't expecting, but ideally it triggers memories.
Yes.
It makes us think of friends and family, and maybe we feel inspired to, put a tomato plant or some basil in a pot outside our back door. It's not about huge things. It's about a kind of a reflective process where it's like, well, how do I want to live my life? How can I be healthier? Who can I connect with that will help me learn what I want to learn, if it's about gardening or cooking or whatever. So
Sure.
This is where I'm coming from with the magazine, and I am so grateful that as I'm out and about, I get to talk with people that read it, and for them, the way that they describe it is very similar to how I experienced it when I was a reader. That feeling of like, oh, this is my community. This is what I want to learn more about. So I just feel like it's an incredible opportunity, and we have a very small team. We had to really reorganize after the pandemic started. That was challenging, and indeed, speaking of change, the world of business keeps changing, right? And we're a small business, we're a corporation. I'm the owner and operator and chief bottle washer, like you have to be in a small business. And I have one employee, Maria. She does amazing work. She's the editor of the magazine. She's the designer of the magazine, and she helps with all of the digital communications that we have to do. Social media, emails.
Just the 2 of you?
Just the 2 of us. And then
That's a small team.
It is. We do partner with different writers and photographers each time. So they're all independent contractors, creators that work with a lot of other entities all year long. And so every time the magazine comes out, it's a new combination of talent and vision.
Always fresh.
Yeah. And the next time, like right now, it's April. We're deep in work on the summer issue. Comes out in July. And we're already talking about fall, and we're already talking about next year's what we have to plan way ahead. So anyway, that
totally makes sense. Wow. I'm inspired even more. I love that. So we talked a little bit about how far the magazine reaches. It can go anywhere because it can be mailed or it can be found online.
Yes.
So there really is no limit to where it can go, where someone can pick up Edible San Diego.
Yes.
And if you're tuning in, I'm speaking with Katie Stokes, the editor-in-chief of Edible San Diego magazine, and she has been telling us a lot of wonderful things about her magazine, how it's grown, how it's continuing, what changes have happened, and just how fresh it is each time to have new contributors each time. Really keeps things nice and fresh.
It does. And that was one of there was a few things I wanted to do back when I first started with Edible San Diego. One of them was to make the magazine more inclusive of the whole county, because there are lots of, centers of population, downtown, some parts of the coast. I really wanted to be all-inclusive in terms of the county. So if you look at our issues since I've been in charge, they've been, the stories are really wide-ranging.
I noticed that it wasn't just the biggest and the baddest out there.
Yeah,
There's a lot of small stuff in there, and that is obviously huge to me, because as a small business owner myself, it's challenging for people to see you.
Sure.
Because you are a small business. I don't have a giant store in the mall where people can go regularly and buy stuff. So for me, it's like, okay, those people that are dedicated to seeking me out and finding me and following me on my social media and going ahead and ordering stuff online or going, where are you going to be next weekend? Are you going to be anywhere? I want to know where I can buy more stuff from you. It's different to get that type of support. So for a small magazine to also be, speaking, not physically small, but it's not like it's worldwide, though it can be digitally worldwide. So for this magazine to be able to reach the small businesses in San Diego County, the small restaurants, places that I've never heard of, and I was like, oh, what? That sounds great. And there's places that I have heard of, and I'm like, they even know about that place. Because they're not big places. They're places that, you find, and when you're just lost one day, and you go, oh, what is this restaurant? Wait, there's a farmer's market today? What day is it?
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
And then you have to find out, there's always a farmer's market today? Yes, there's always a farmer's market at this time to this time, no matter what, and usually ends around here. Because people are always so warm and welcoming about telling you when schedules are. So to have the access to it in a magazine is great, because I love going to farmers markets. Mike loves going to farmers markets, and we love trying to find new restaurants that are going to be cute to go to and sit and hear about their stories too.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that is important for me with Moments with MJ. Between that and Winery Wednesdays with MJ on Wednesdays, between those two, finding those small businesses and small places that might get overlooked. And it's really a shame, because I want more people to find them, because they're hidden gems.
Absolutely.
And they're so important to the world and to our whole ecosystem and to everything that's going on, is supporting those small businesses. That's, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, which, it's just for me, that's what the American dream was supposed to be about, is making your own way, building it up. It used to be that's what you did, and I talk to my students about it all the time, is the ones, especially when you're in second and third grade and you're learning about, okay, people, if you didn't know how to spin and you didn't know how to weave, but you had a ton of chickens and they gave you all these eggs, but your neighbor knew how to do both of those things, you could trade, you could barter with them, you could help each other out. And this magazine, to me, that's what it seems like it's doing, is that they're all helping each other out. It's like the modern form of bartering and sharing and helping your community out, because the farmer's going to help out the restaurant's going to keep going to the farmer. It goes back and forth, and both win. It's a win-win.
Absolutely.
So, I digressed.
It's not at all. It's great. I wanted to mention, too, people can find where they can pick up a free copy of the magazine on our website. Down at the bottom, there's a little menu, and it says "Find a Copy." So you can look there, and it'll show which markets, which restaurants, which libraries you can pick up the copies at. So that's really important. And then also, I mentioned that one of my goals was to make our editorial coverage more inclusive of all of the county. The second goal was to diversify our contributors. So we really have an open-ended invite, and I want to be sure to say this to your listeners, that we're always looking for new writers and new photographers or videographers. Please send us an email to info@ediblesandiego.com, because we welcome new contributors in all the time with fresh perspectives, different life experiences, different writing styles. There's some stories that we're working on for the summer issue that are so exciting. And it comes from working with people that have experiences that you or I absolutely don't, right? But that's part of the joy of putting together this collection in the magazine. And so anyway, look up on the website about where to find a copy, and then reach out to us at info@ediblesandiego.com to talk about if you'd like to write for us or do photography. So. Okay,
and I'm going to include that information on my post. So don't fret. I will make sure that I have all the information. I will double check before, but it's probably going to be a long post. but it's going to be well worth it. So, Katie, this is Katie Stokes that I'm talking with today on Moments with MJ, the editor-in-chief of Edible San Diego. Do you have any words of wisdom for anyone who's thinking of starting a magazine or women-owned business in general?
Mm-hmm. I'd say first of all to clarify your vision. What are you trying to do? Get it really crystal clear in your heart and in your mind, because you're going to need that clarity as you go forward. And the second thing, this is just how I approach work and life is, and I'd write it down on pen and paper. I would work on my vision for what I'm trying to accomplish, and then I would make a list or make a sketch of my circles of support. I think of it like concentric circles. It might be a partner, it might be your best friend, it might be a sibling. You have probably 2 or 3 people in your life who you can go to with any kind of problem or challenge. That's great. Well, depending on what you want to do, I'd also think a little bit more broadly and make a list of people who you think you could call up on the phone or go visit or write an email to if you needed advice or support or help. And like I said, I think of it as like concentric circles going farther and farther out, because none of us can do very much alone. We need a community, and I found that part of what new professional opportunities require of us is to develop new networks.
And that was
new circles.
My next question was advice for women who want to have a strong team with their business.
Yes.
You're a team of 2.
Yes.
But there's got to be, like you said, someone else that you talk to that gives you advice, that you can bounce ideas off. Go, is this crazy or does this sound like it can work?
Absolutely. And I mean, I have a CPA who helps us with our taxes, because that's something where I want to make sure that we're doing it right, and
dot your I's and cross your T's.
Yeah, other kinds of help and advisors. So I think that the best way to manage a team is to, once again, the old adage of hiring to your weakness. Bring people onto your team that know how to do things that you don't know how to do. So you've got a bunch of talents around you, and you don't have to know it all or do it all. You have an agile team. And in my case, like with a small business with just 2 of us, we have regular conversations about our workflow, as we call it. So how we're going to handle these different goals and the calendar and everything. And depending on the project, we bring in other people to help us. So it's a kind of a flexible thing, not a rigid
that's
thing.
Nice.
So that's how I kind of think about it. Clarify your vision and keep that clear as time goes forward, and then tap your circle, and also be willing to give help to someone who might need your help or your advice, because what goes around comes around. I found that to be true.
It's very true. No doubt. That's great advice. And as we're getting towards the end of Moments with MJ, I'm speaking with Katie Stokes, the editor-in-chief of Edible San Diego magazine. It's a fabulous magazine. I'm going to share a few pictures with Katie's approval on the post. And I would like to know, what's your goals for the future for this magazine, for Edible San Diego? You've been with it for a long time now.
Yeah, going on a decade.
So what do we think next for it?
Yes, so
you've got it online. You've got it that you can have it in person.
Of course, I'd like the magazine to be twice as long and to print twice as many of them. We print between 15 and 17,000 magazines each quarter.
That's a lot.
We did a lot more than that before the pandemic started. So that's that's just been one of the adjustments that we make. So in a business, you have to right size your revenues with your expenses, and we've got a balance right now. So in my heart of hearts, I would love the magazine to be longer and to be able to print more. To do that, I'm always looking for new advertising partners, because I wanted to make clear to your readers the way that we're able to distribute the magazine for free to 99% of the people who read it is our advertisers. And we really look at them as partners, because they're paying to appear in our print pages and online and in our emails enables us to do this work. It's a very direct line between the two things. So
symbiotic.
Yes, and we look for the kind of advertising partners that we know our readers will want to know about. You're flipping through the pages of the magazine and you'll read a story or you'll look at a recipe, and then, like you mentioned, you'll see interesting businesses or restaurants that you might or might not know about, but just seeing them there, wow, Solari Ristorante down in Liberty Station. They support Edible San Diego mission enough to advertise here. So we always ask our readers, please take a look at the ads. We have a list of the advertisers in the back. Give them a try. Go check them out, and let them know that Edible San Diego sent you, because that's how, in our world, that's how we fund the business. But I also have other dreams. We did this wine guide I mentioned to you in fall of 2025, and we're going to do a second edition in Q4 of 2027.
Okay.
Which sounded like a long time ago in 2025,
but
right
now the corner.
It's like right on the horizon.
Almost halfway through the year.
We're already working on it.
We're quarter away.
So we got such positive and enthusiastic feedback on that first local wine guide that we're going to do a second issue in the end of 2027. And also, speaking of partnerships, I walk the talk. We have a nice presence at the upcoming San Diego County Fair, because they are really changing the way that they present educational information about local food at the fair. There's a big building there called the O'Brien Hall, where there are all these exhibits about local wine, local beer, local produce, the crops that are grown in San Diego County. They're going to have a farm, a demonstrational farm and garden area. They're going to have livestock shows. It's so much fun. So I'm very honored that we're a partner with the fair. There's a large version of our wineries map and several informational panels that they asked us to develop for them. So those kind of partnerships where a small business owner like me can partner with a large, an amazing entity like the San Diego County Fair, that's exciting.
That's saying a lot.
We're always looking for partners like that. At KPBS, we did a sponsorship at an event they did recently regarding cooking. So I'm a kind of a community-minded person. We make the magazine feel that way, and it's part of how we'll continue to grow and thrive.
And that's a lot of similarities to what we're doing with the radio station, because it's right there in its name, Borrego Valley Community Radio. So our goal is to continue, not just only in Borrego, but that's where we're based, but to touch all different parts of San Diego.
Right.
And to meet different people, starting with the small businesses, because they're the ones that, like I said, a lot of times they get overlooked. And for me, that is personal, for me to find the small wineries, the small businesses, and talk to them and give them their chance to share, like Katie's done today. And Katie, my final question for you. Any last or final thoughts you would like to share with my listeners for today?
Yeah, two real quick. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you today. I just really enjoyed our conversation. One of the things I had hoped to mention was, as an example of community and being innovative as a business is, we are launching a new series of periodic dinners. We've done different kind of events over the years, and this is a new one, for us at least, a sit-down dinner centering local winemakers, with them telling the stories of their wines to our guests. So this is taking place on May 28th at Cordiano Winery, and we have information about that on the website. But I mention it because it's a way for us as a small but really passionate magazine to partner with these amazing people that do incredible work. It's an art and a science to produce wine out of air and soil.
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh, I just marvel at it. And then you get to sip it and just you're tasting the land and the sky. It's just magical. So this event series is a new way for us to maybe a couple times a year partner with different wineries to bring people together in this kind of a conversation about local food and local wine. And the last thing I wanted to mention is kind of the most basic reason for why I do this work, which is, when you stop and think about it, we need food to live, right?
Yes,
our bodies are an inherent part of the food system, at whatever scale you define it. There's all this new research about how important our gut microbiome is and how living soils are essential to our survival as a species. So with Edible San Diego, we take a regenerative approach where we want to really take a broad perspective on food and healthy living, and ask our readers to consider what little changes can each of us make in our day-to-day life that are supportive of our own health or our family's health or the planet's health. And I really feel that all of us have that responsibility and the opportunity to keep growing, keep learning, keep contributing. And I really feel that the world is a better place when all of us have that kind of sense of connectedness and a sense of hope. You know, it's not about perfection.
No.
It's about here, you're sitting there, I'm sitting here, and nobody's perfect, but we're all on a journey in this life. So let's work together. Let's enjoy the simple pleasures like a really ripe strawberry or, a loaf of sourdough made with love by a friend or a neighbor. You know, food really brings us together, and I hope that the magazine brings people together and creates that warm and fuzzy feeling we get when we think about our favorite foods. So, thank you.
I feel that that's what it does for me, and I just want to remind everyone that you've just been listening to Moments with MJ here on Borrego Valley Community Radio. I've been speaking with Katie Stokes, the owner and editor-in-chief of Edible San Diego Magazine. And it's a fabulous magazine. It's been a wonderful time talking with you, Katie. My brain is just, it was tired when I started, but it's all fired up and thinking, ooh, what can I do here? What can I do there? So thank you for taking the time. You've been listening to Moments with MJ here on BVCR The Ram. And till the next time, take care and enjoy your life out there, Borrego and beyond.
That's right. We don't need no stinking FCC. That's why our call letters are BVCR. That stands for Borrego Valley Community Radio, the hyperlocal, the original, The Ram.